Vasudeva. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. Before reciting Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhaktir Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhaktir. So Krishna. What's that verse?
Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtaki.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. By regular attendance in the classes on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Namaha Pankajanaabhaya, Namaha Pankajamaline, Namaha Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangriye, Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Devaki Nandanaya Cha, Nanda Gopa Kumaraya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya, Radhikaya Tadalaya, Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining. So yesterday we completed Canto 8, Chapter 15 of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is entitled Bali Maharaj Conquers Heavenly Planets. So in the previous chapter, we'll do here a quick summary of this chapter, but in the previous chapter, we discussed about the future Manus and how the Manus manage the universal system under the guidance of the Supreme Lord. It was a small chapter 14 and 13. But coming back to 15, so when Shri Shukdev Goswami told about the seventh Manu, that how Lord captured Bali and also took 3 steps of land, it arose a question in the mind of Parikshit Maharaj. He was very, very inquisitive to ask, well, if someone comes to beg, the beggar does not bind, the beggar does not bind its donor, right? If someone comes to, let's say, donate 1,000 rupees or $1,000, into the temple or to anywhere, we will not bind that person, correct? So it was interesting that how, first of all, why the Supreme Lord begged, and then why the Lord bound his own donor, that is Bali Maharaj. So then this topic was there, that how Shukracharya gave this conch shell, and in the Vishwajit Yagya, and all the sacrificial fire and all the processes were done. Prahlad Maharaj came and gave his blessings to whom? Anyone knows?
Bali Maharaj.
To Bali Maharaj. And if you remember, we discussed that picture also, that how he received a flower garden from Prahlad Maharaj, his grandfather, how he received the conch from his teacher, Shukracharya, and he received the blessings of the Brahmanas. He received a lot of blessings, a lot of pious karma he did to get strength. And he was very grateful to his spiritual master, because he was the one who revived him back to life from the previous fight in the Mohinimurti incarnation. So then Bali Maharaj prepares to attack Indrapuri. And then there is very vivid description about the glories or of the opulence of Indra, that how there was very celestial atmosphere, festivals, gardens, and jewels, and pearls, and breezes, and apsaras, and somaras, and golden doors, and whatnot. Very, very vivid description. Who would not want to go there? Everyone wants to go there. If you ask in general layman person, where do you want to go? They'll say, oh, I want to go to heaven, right? I want to go to Swarga. Even in the newspaper, they put someone dies, there's Swargavas ho gaya. No matter how much bad person may have done, they'll always say Swargavas ho gaya. They'll not say Narkavas ho gaya. So, because everyone wants to go there only. So, but irreligious, sinful people, envious, violent, cheaters cannot stay there. So, in short, even to go to heaven, one needs to do karma kanda. So karma kanda is one level up than the animalistic life. Animalistic life is you totally give up scriptures, totally is like vikarma, bad actions. So vikarma will lead to down. Adho gachanti tamasa. That's animalistic life. But karma kanda is better than animalistic life. Is to follow some rules for higher destination. And then there is a yoga ladder. Then karma kanda, then karma yoga. In karma yoga also sakam karma yoga and nishkam karma yoga, and then up, ultimately bhakti yoga. So basically people following a lot of karma kanda, yagya, and going upper planets, that's they are doing all those things. But now the position is fickle. Brahma Bhuvana Loka, the lowest and to the topmost planet, everything is very fickle. So Indra and all were busy enjoying, and then suddenly demigods had to leave. Why? Because Bali Maharaj attacked. Now there's a detailed discussion how Bali Maharaj got his strength, and we discussed this point in the last couple of classes as well, because he had faithfully served his spiritual master. He had received the blessings of Brahmanas, the Vaishnavas, and his grandfather as well. So power of pleasing Guru, power of Guru's mercy, Prabhupada mentions a lot in the purports as well. At that time, and we discussed that how Indra and all were busy and enjoying, and on the contrary, Bali Maharaj served as Guru. So when we are busy enjoying, forgetting Guru, then the demoniac forces will come and take over, and then we will leave our position. What is our true position? Jivara Surupa Krishna Nitya Das. So we will fall down from that position of Krishna's servant when we are busy enjoying senses and forgetting Guru. So Indra and all had to leave, and even Brahaspati couldn't do much because the demons were in power. And then they listened to his advice and then kind of left the kingdom. And then he said that when Bali Maharaj will insult the Brahmanas, basically, and we discussed that point also yesterday, that when Bali Maharaj will disobey his so-called Guru at that time, Shukracharya, because ultimately Guru is one who helps us to get closer to Krishna. The Guru which keeps us away from Krishna or does not guide us to get closer to Krishna is not the real Guru. So at that point, Bali Maharaj rejected, that will come later. So in short, he disobeyed in a transcendental way. And then, but at this point, he's in power. So Bali Maharaj occupied the heavenly position and started to perform Ashwamedh Yagya also, and he enjoyed the kingdom. So that's where this chapter kind of ends, and a lot of wonderful lessons. So if anyone has any comments, any thoughts, reflections before we move on to the next chapter, this is the right time to discuss that. Yes, Kashish Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Tanmatnam, Bhagavati. But when I was reading this chapter, I thought that just to enter the normal Swargloka, which we feel is temporary and not the ultimate goal, one has to be so much qualified, no anger, no greed, and all these qualities. And when I talk about myself, I'm already having all of these bad qualities in me. So sometimes I think that even to go the Swargloka, we have to be so much qualified. What will be the qualification if we have to, think of Golo Vrindavan Dham Prabhuji? Sometimes it's very difficult, no? It looks like a journey of many births. I mean, this thing that when we say that heaven is not our aim, but the qualifications are so high. So when we will be qualified for that ultimate place, Prabhuji, do you think any guidance in that? I mean, it's a
Hare Krishna. There are some similarities in this analogy and some differences also. The good thing is that yes, we have to understand that even mode of goodness is very far. So people in the mode of goodness go to upper planets. What to speak of Shuddha Sattva or transcendental goodness. But yes, that should humble us that I can never be qualified actually. And at the same time, try very, very sincerely and be helpless, not hopeless, helplessly taking shelter of Guru and Krishna. In the mode of goodness, the I is still there. Oh, I do a lot of charity. Oh, I am very pious. Oh, I never do this. In the mode of goodness, the I is still present. So I will go to heaven. Oh, look at the charity I gave. Oh, look at the well I made. Oh, look at the hospital I made. Thousands of people are getting benefit. Still, that I is still there. But in the Shuddha Sattva or transcendental mode or Bhakti Yoga, one has to get away from that I also. That ultimately I am Krishna's servant. That is spiritual I, we can say. Spiritual identity or spiritual ego, true ego. That will make us dependent on Krishna, more dependent on Krishna, more dependent on His mercy, and the mercy will flow proportionate to our sincerity. So, yes, it is difficult. Yes, but at the same time, it's easy also. It is simple. If we take, if this helps us to take more shelter of Krishna, if this helps us to take more the process more sincerely and seriously, then yes, Krishna will certainly shower his causeless mercy. Because we are ultimately a recipient of, or we hope to be a recipient of causeless mercy only. Krishna, I have so many faults. I don't think I ever be purified to go. I don't think I can ever say that I'll be qualified to go back home, back to Godhead. Once Radhanath Maharaj says one's disqualification is one's qualification. One who thinks one is qualified is actually not qualified. One who thinks I am most disqualified, like Narottam Thakur is saying, Mosama Patita Prabhu Nahi Tribhuvane. I'm the most disqualified person. I'm the most Patita. So therefore, I'm the rightful recipient of your mercy. So that we can meditate upon. That we'll never be qualified. Is that okay or?
yes, Prabhuji, thanks so much. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else has any other comments, additions, reflections, something stuck you in this chapter? Anything you like in purports or verses? Is someone speaking? I can't hear.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, and Pranam.
Able.
Yeah, you very well, nicely summarized, Prabhuji. Thank you. And Mataji also asked very beautiful question. And yeah, also Prabhupada says that if we, follow the 4 regulatory principles and do our chanting, hold my dhoti, I'll take you back. Of course, saying is very easy, but and the one thing I liked in this chapter also, Prabhuji, Indra, though he was bewildered, but he took the instruction of his guru, because even though initially he fell down by not obeying the guru, but later he took it, and when Brihaspati said that Lord Vishnu Krishna himself will come and help, so he fled away for the time being. So always we have to take the shelter of guru. Thank you, Prabhuji. That's my understanding. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And we discussed with multiple examples how the mercy of Guru can. We discussed the example of a lion devotee. You heard the story of lion devotee. We discussed the story of a mad elephant devotee, all by the mercy of Guru. So thank you. Impossible is possible. We discussed that also. That ordinary becomes extraordinary. Brihaspati said that to Indra. Although this Bali is ordinary, but now he has become extraordinary. Why? Because he has extra mercy of his Guru. So, thank you. Anyone else has any other comments, reflections from this chapter 15?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam. Just glorification of the great Mahajan Bali Maharaj, who, even though initially he was in the mode of ignorance, by serving the descendants of Bhrigu Muni, who all the Brahmanas and the devotees of the Lord and the spiritual master, he got the power to even overcome Indra. So that teaches us that even though whichever position we are in, but if we are fully surrendered to the spiritual master and the devotees of the Lord, we can achieve great success. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. The power of blessings. Blessings have a lot of power. Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice point. Okay, so
Prabhuji,
that's,
one question if I can ask. Prabhuji, that lion devotee, I forgot about that. Prabhuji. Can you remind me about the lion devotee?
yeah, I forgot the name of the devotee, but ultimately this devotee, gave diksha to a lion. And this lion would go door to door and he would carry like a bag in his neck and he would roar. People would come and give alms. He would not hurt anyone. And someone would give alms, someone would give grains, etc. And he would keep, glorifying his Guru and Kṛṣṇa and not harm any humans. And everyone knew that he's a disciple of a great spiritual master. And same story with the mad elephant. So that's Shamanand Prabhu's disciple, Rasikananda. Rasikananda's appearance day or discipline's day is coming in 2 weeks, on I think March 13th or 14th. He gave initiation. A king had sent mad elephant to kill Rasikananda, because Muslim kings and all that stuff at that point 500 years back. And this Rasikananda, as soon as the elephant was about to kind of trample over him, he just stopped there and put Dandavat to the great Rasikananda. And he spoke the Mahamantra in his ear and became his Rasikananda, gave him initiation to this mad elephant. And he also was chanting his glories. So my wife just mentioned that in Vrindavan, in Barsana, there is a place called Mor Kutir. So the Baba over there is a blind devotee, and he made a beautiful painting of Kṛṣṇa and dancing as a peacock. And he was the guru of this lion devotee. So in Barsana, this painting is still present. So something for your, what do you call, to-do list or travel list? I don't know. What's that called? So we can have spiritual, our checklist. There's a name.
Itinerary.
What?
Itinerary, Prabhuji.
Bucket list.
Bucket list. Yes, bucket list. Materialistic people have, I'll go to these things. We can also have our bucket list. I want to go to Barsana. I want to go to Mayapur. I want to go to Jagannath Puri and where all the holy places. So if you go to Barsana, you will see this beautiful painting, Kṛṣṇa dancing as peacock, which is done by the blind devotee. So, but he could only see Krishna's pastimes with his spiritual senses. Okay, shall we move on to next chapter, chapter 16, the execution of Payo-vrata, process of worship. Let's start this new chapter. Raise your hand if you're interested to read today and you didn't get chance yesterday especially. This is your turn to read. Yes, Amsilas Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Dandat Pranam, dear devotees. Chapter 16, Executing the Payo-vrata process of worship. As described in this chapter, because Aditi, the mother of the demigods, was very afflicted, her husband Kashyapa Muni told her how to observe vows in austerity for the benefit of her sons. Since the demigods were not visible in the heavenly kingdom, their mother Aditi, because of separation from them, was very much aggrieved. One day, after many years, the great sage Kashyapa emerged from trance of meditation and returned to his ashrama. He saw that the ashrama was no longer beautiful and that his wife was very morose. Everywhere in the ashrama, he saw signs of lamentation. The great sage therefore inquired from his wife about the well-being of the ashrama and asked her why she looked so morose. After Aditi informed Kashyapa Muni about the ashrama's well-being, she told him that she was lamenting for the absence of her sons. She then requested him to tell her how her sons could return and reoccupy their positions. She wanted all good fortunes for her sons. Moved by Aditi's request, Kashyapa Muni instructed her in the philosophy of self-realization, the difference between matter and spirit, and how to be unaffected by material laws. But when he saw that Aditi was not satisfied even after he had given these instructions, he advised her to worship Vasudeva, Janardana. He assured her that only Lord Vasudeva could satisfy her and fulfill all her desires. When Aditi then expressed her desire to worship Lord Vasudeva, Prajapati Kashyapa told her about a process of worship known as Payo-vrata, which is executed in 12 days. Lord Brahma had instructed him how to satisfy Lord Kṛṣṇa by this process, and thus he advised his wife to observe this vow and its regulative principles. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. So this it's a summary and we are going to read. So just quickly, it's all Mother Aditi being sad about her sons losing their position, and she wants to get them back to the full fortune. And when Kashyapa Muni returns, she asks how to do this. And a great devotee is not affected by material suffering, but that mothers cannot understand that because they are always concerned about their kids. So Kashyapa Muni told her the process of the Payo-vrata that can be executed in 12 days, and the Lord is very pleased with that vrata. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Anyone else who did this vrata in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam or something similar? Anything clicking?
The other vrata that Kashyapa Muni's other wife did, Diti.
Yes. What was the name of that vrata? Who knows? And for
Pumsavanam.
Pumsavana vrata. So Diti did that vrata, Kashyap's wife, Diti the mother of Daityas, Aditi the mother of Adityas or Devtas. Why did Diti want to do that vrata? What was her desire?
To kill Indra, Prabhuji?
Yes, to kill Indra. Very nice. And what happened finally? Mataji? No, is the answer. All the
So finally, the 49 Maruts were in her womb. One day she forgot to rinse her mouth, and because of not following the vow to the T, then Indra could enter her womb, and he tried to cut the embryo, and then 7 were formed, and then from 7, 49 were formed, and then Marut said, "Hey Indra, we are the brothers, so please don't do this." And then he didn't do it, and then actually amazingly Indra came out, and he and Diti forgave each other, or had a nice relationship afterwards.
Thank you so
Thank you very
much,
much.
Mataji. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Now, Aditi, this whole chapter is entitled Payo-vrata process. So let's see what happens. Yes, Vaishnavi Mataji, would you like to read your text 1? Okay, Pune Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandat Pranam everyone. Text 1. Sri Sukha Uvacha Evam Putreshu Nasteshu Deva Mata Titis Tatta Rite Trivishta Pe Daityam Daityam Paryapta Yada Yadana Thavat. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, when Aditi's sons, the demigods, had thus disappeared from heaven and the demons had occupied their places, Aditi began lamenting, as if she had no protector. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, back to you.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji. So, homeless, right? The children are homeless. The mother will feel worried, right? That's what happened. All the devatas are homeless because their home has been occupied by Bali and other demons. So Aditi began lamenting that my children are homeless. What to do? Please. So let's see what happens. Yes, Ikant Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Everyone. Text 2. Ekada kashyapastasya ashramam bhagavan agat nirutsavam niranandam samadher viratas chirat. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai. After many days, the great powerful sage Kashyapa Muni arose from a trance of meditation and returned home to see the ashrama of Aditi neither jubilant nor festive. Thank you, Babuji.
Thank you, Chakrika. Mataji, you want to say something?
Prabhuji, I'm sorry, Prabhuji, I don't know.
No, it's Hare Krishna. Thank you for reading. So one thing which really kind of struck me here, that although he's a grihastha, right? He has a wife, 2 wives probably, or more. But after many, many days, he is coming back from his samadhi or state of meditation. So it's not that grihastha means a license to enjoy or illicit, unregulated enjoyment. So Looks like it's very, very clear. Ekada, that once upon a time, ekada, one day. That means it's not that every day he was kind of like spending hours and hours, or that means the focus was Krishna consciousness. The focus was in the previous ages, the process were meditation and dhyana yoga, etc. But in this age, the process is bhakti yoga, or chanting of the holy names. So marriage does not mean unrestricted, unregulated enjoyment. So one should regulate one's senses, and here Kashyap Muni is showing that. Even in the story of the father of Kapila Muni, Kardam Muni and Devahuti, as soon as they got married, Kapila Muni went for Kardam Muni went for a long time of like meditation, and Mata Devahuti was serving her husband, Kardam Muni, and it's mentioned in the Bhagavatam that how her body became very skinny, etc. And then later, Kardam Muni had that powers so that he could revive her body, the body of his wife, Devahuti. But the point here is that okay, we don't need to go to the forest like Kashyap Muni, but the focus should be Krishna consciousness. The focus nowadays, I was thinking, nowadays, instead of after many days they are coming home. That's true. But what? After coming from a long business trip, after struggling many days for long business trip, they're coming back home and seeing one's wife, right? Or after many weeks of the husband and wife don't see each other, the kids and the parents don't see each other, and that's how the modern family is. So instead of meditation upon the Supreme Lord, the meditation is on getting more money and coming back home after a long time. To see the ashram of Aditi, returned home to see the ashram of Aditi, neither jubilant nor festive. So the wife should greet the husband happily, and especially after he's coming after a long time. So it looks like there were ashram of Aditi and maybe ashram of Diti, correct? So to see that the husband is coming after a long time and there is no kind of joy on the face, that's not a good sign. The wife should greet the husband happily and with joyfully. That's the Vedic culture. So Kashyap Muni could sense that something is not right. That Aditi seems to be morose, maybe. Let's see what happens. Next verse we will read. Text number 3. Yes, Sampada Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. Sapatnim dinavadanam kritashana parigrahaha sabhajito yatha nyayam idam aha kurudvaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O best of the Kurus, when Kashyapa Muni had been properly received and welcomed, he took his seat and then spoke as follows to his wife, Aditi, who was very morose. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. So in this verse we do read that he was received and welcomed, but Aditi was not in a good mood, and we read that here as well. Neither jubilant nor festive, so the opposite is that she was morose. So let's see what happens next when they both husband and wife spoke. Yes, someone wants to read text number 4. Baswati Mataji, want to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Bhagavatam Srila Prabhupada. Text 4. Api avadram na vipranam vadre loke dunagatam na dharmasya na lokasya mrityaschandanu vartinaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. O most gentle one, I wonder whether anything inauspicious has now taken place in regard to religious principles, the Brahmanas or the people in general who are subject to the whims of death. Purport. There are prescribed duties for all the inhabitants of this material world, especially for the Brahmanas, but also for the people in general who are subject to the whims of death. Kashyapa Muni wondered whether the regulative principles which are meant for the well-being of everyone had been disobeyed. He accordingly continued his inquiries for 7 verses. So here Kashyapa Muni is inquiring and asking his wife Aditi about is anything disturbed the religious, especially the prescribed duties of Prabhuji, whether it's asking that he is mentioning about the 4 varnas and especially the Brahmanas. Like Brahman has some prescribed duties like teaching and reading the scriptures and following Vedic principles like that. And here it's also the whims of death. This phrase means like everyone will go to birth and death cycle. Okay. Back to you, Prabhuji. Please explain.
Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji. So, different varnas and ashrams have different prescribed duties or religious duties. And Bhagavad Gita also mentions, and I was hearing this today, that Yajna, Dan and Tapa. Yajna, Dan and Tapa are the 3 duties for every varna and every ashrama. Now, what kind of dan may be different. Like a sannyasi may give dan of his knowledge, of his, by traveling, and a grihastha may give dan of his wealth, etc. So, yajna, dan and tapa should never be stopped. They purify everyone. They lead to everyone's well-being. So, basically, Kashyap Muni is trying to understand. And it's a very important lesson. So, see, Bhagavatam is teaching lessons how to be a good husband, how to be a good wife, what are the do's to be a good husband, what are the don'ts to be a bad husband or not a good husband. So how is he addressing? He's addressing very gently, oh most gentle one. Right? So we think, Bhagavatam is teaching practical stuff also. If we read with that lens, he's calling Bhadre, Bhadram The, a most gentle Aditi. So we should address our husband and wife and everyone, parents, kids, everyone, in a very gentle way, because they are devotees first. They are our husband or wife second. They are Krishna's children first. So, because if we disrespect them or not show proper respect, then our spiritual progress will be checked. So even and that too, she's not in a good mood, right? We already discussed that. Right here. She was not in a good mood, correct? She was morose. So to give love to those who love us is very easy, correct? If someone is very pleased with kind words and very nice words, to treat them in the same way is not a big deal. But to someone who is not very pleasant with us, to treat them in such a kind and gentle way, that the great Kashyap Muni is teaching us. Okay, and so he's asking, and Prabhupada mentions he's asking like seven verses, he's asking different questions that what is, oh my gentle wife, what's not going right? Is something wrong? Do you need some help? Basically trying to understand what's how that husband can help, trying to understand the situation, trying to hear her, right? These days, these skills are very important. Active listening, seek to understand others. And listen to the needs of others so you can understand them better. Okay, let's read one last verse. Yes, Moksha Mataji, please. Hare Krishna Mataji, your network is not okay, I believe. I can't hear you.
If it's okay, I can read it.
Yes, please, Mataji.
Under Pranam devotees, conclusion of Prabhupada. Api va kushalam kinchit ruheshu.
Devotees, Sanmat Pranam. Text number 5. Api va kushalam kinchit.
I guess she heard my words now.
Okay. Gruheshu gruhamedini dharmasyarthasya kamasya yatra yogo ya yoginam. Purport and translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O my wife, who are very much attached to householder life, if the principles of religion, economic development, and satisfaction of the senses are properly followed in household life, one's activities are as good as those of a transcendentalist. I wonder whether there have been any discrepancies in following these principles. In this verse, Aditi has been addressed by her husband, Kashyapa Muni, as Gruha Medhini, which means one who is satisfied in household life for sense gratification. Generally, those who are in household life pursue sense gratification in the field of activities performed for material results. Such Gruha Medhis have only one aim in life, sense gratification. Therefore, it is said, Yan Maithunadi Grahamedhi Sukham Hi Tucham. The householder's life is based on sense gratification, and therefore the happiness derived from it is very meager. Nonetheless, the Vedic process is so comprehensive that even in householder life, one can adjust his activities according to the. Bro, can you please scroll down? According to the regulative principles of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. One's aim should be to achieve liberation, but because one cannot at once give up the sense gratification, in the Shastras there are injunctions prescribing how to follow the principles of religion, economic development, and sense gratification. As explained in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.2.9, dharmasya hi apvargasya nartho artha yopak kalpate. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Those who are in household life should not think that religion is meant to improve the process of householder sense gratification. Household life is also meant for advancement in spiritual understanding, by which one can ultimately gain liberation from the material clutches. One should remain in household life with the aim of understanding the ultimate goal of life, Tattva Jigyasa. Then, household life is as good as a life of yogi. Kashyapa Muni therefore inquired from his wife whether the principles of religion, economic development, and sense gratification were being properly followed in terms of the Shastric injunctions. As soon as one deviates from the injunctions of the Shastra, the purpose of household life is immediately lost in confusion. Prabhu, I'd like to hear more from you on this. So I really am eager to hear that. So please add. Thank you so much. Dandavats.
That you're so mature and learned and senior. Please, you tell. I just keep speaking every day only. Yeah.
No, Prabhu,
Please
really,
share.
this is talking to me like I am the one in sense gratification. So, one can be in the householder life, and it's so easy. It's like the butter and they say in मैं जब devotee के साथ होता हूँ तो माला मक्खन की तरह हाथ से घूमती है. But when you are devoid of devotee association, then it's so hard. So now my travels are finished, and few days I'm alone. So it's it's everything is struggle. So I can totally relate to this verse, and hence I said I'm really eager to hear from you, Brother. Very well. Thank you. And this really class keeps me grounded and focused.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you so much for reading and sharing. So we have heard these four words, I guess, many times. Dharma, Artha, and Kama. Right? Dharma, Artha, and Kama. It's a very nice word. Yatra yogo hi ayoginam. So, materialistic people just focus on these three things. Dharma. Actually, dharma also is missing. Only what is there? Artha and Kama. Artha means get more and more money. For what? For more and more sense gratification. Out of dharma also is nowadays almost missing. Some people do some pious activities, etc., some prescribed duties, but mostly only Artha and Kama are pending. But here is a very, very important verse, because often people think that we cannot practice bhakti in household life. Prahlad Maharaj was Grihastha, and out of the 12 Mahajans, more than half of them were Grihasthas. Arjuna was Grihastha. So many great souls. Prabhupada was Grihastha for a major portion of his life. And many, today, I think it's the disappearance day of Srila Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj, the 25th. He was also a Grihastha for quite a significant portion of his life. So the point is that when these three, Dharma, Artha and Kama, are connected to the Supreme Lord, then basically following the Shastric injunctions, following Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, then that person becomes a transcendentalist or a yogi, or as good as sannyasi, even in the household life. So how can we engage? We can engage all three in Krishna's service. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7:11, Balam balavatam chaham kama raga vivarjita dharma aviruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bhartarshu. I am that sex life which is not contrary to the religious principles. In short, one can legally get married and have tens of children if one can make them Krishna conscious. No one is stopping to not have children from one's legally married wife or husband. But unrestricted and irregulated sex life, that is not Krishna. So that's discouraged. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur had 10, 12 children. All of them were great devotees. So who is stopping then? No one is stopping. Same, one can get a lot of wealth, but one should not over endeavor. One should not do cheating business. One can get a lot of wealth, build a lot of temples, donate more. If Krishna has given someone more, one devotee says, if our income increases or Krishna gives us more, then we should raise the standard of giving, not the standard of living. Because ultimately there will never be an end point. If we keep raising the standard of living, that means we are not living a simple life. Then at that point, let's say we need a car. Okay, that's kind of a mandatory thing, that we need a car to go from one place to the other. But now the car can be of $10,000, $20,000, $100,000, $500,000 also. I believe there are cars for $500,000. I don't know, maybe. So, but there's no upper point. So one can keep same, one can live in any place, one can live in a simple place, one can live in a very, very big place. So, but the point is how we can use it in Krishna's service. So one should not over endeavor. Whatever is destined in one's quota will ultimately come with dutiful endeavor. So dutiful as per dharma we have to do. So then all three things, dharma, artha, kama, and ultimately is moksha. But the griha medhi are only absorbed in artha and kama in this day and age. But Lord Chaitanya has given us something very special called Pancham Purushartha, which is Prema Bhakti. Pancham Purushartha. We don't just talk about the fourth Purushartha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, because moksha often is connected to impersonal liberation. So we talk about Prema Bhakti, and the followers of Lord Chaitanya, Gaudiya Vaishnavas. We talk about the topmost wealth, the topmost destination, the topmost prayojan in the human form of life, whether Grihastha or Brahmachari. The goal is clear, to attain the Pancham Purushartha. But now, then why don't we just become sannyasi? No, everyone cannot do that, and it's not recommended. So Grihastha life is like a ladder. It's like a ladder to slowly give up our desires to enjoyment and increase our Krishna consciousness. Grihastha life is not a way to increase our sense enjoyment. It's a ladder to reduce our sense gratification slowly, and therefore after Grihastha comes Vanprastha, where one is done with one's family, kids, and intensifies. And so our graph for Krishna consciousness should go up, and our desires to enjoy the senses should go down. That's Grihastha life. Gradual progress to keep doing. Gradual progress for upliftment. But what happens in this day and age? Krishna consciousness, I'm not talking about devotees like you, I'm talking about general masses. And the Krishna consciousness is missing. So all the attention is in sense gratification. So even at the age of 70 years, 80 years, the desire to enjoy senses is quite wild. And therefore, one just misses the whole point of human form of life. Manushya janamapaya, Radha Krishna na bhajiya, janiya shuniya vishekhani. Day and night serving the senses, which are like the mad mind. They just exploit us, uncontrolled mind and senses, serving the wicked senses. So, in short, most of us are in the Grihastha life, and the goal is to follow the Vedic Shastras, to follow the Guru Sadhu Shastra, and in a regulated way, focus on Dharma, Artha, Kama, so that we can reach the higher destination, that is Pancham Purushartha, Prema Bhakti. Any other additions, corrections, comments? I'm just repeating for myself, sorry if it was too much, but this is just... So please pray so that you can follow this. Speaking is very, very easy, but easier said than done. So, but we have to at least try our best, keep trying, know what's our goal and how Kardam here, Daksha, sorry, was that? Kashyap Muni is teaching these principles, and he was following this actually. He was not living a life of a sense gratifier. he was living a very, very Krishna conscious life. Okay, if there are no other comments, we'll pause here. It's already a little late, so sorry about that. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta
Jai.
Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.